Thank you, Tom, for that fabulous introduction, and Drew, and it's a wonderful event this evening. The National Inventors Hall of Fame sure knows how to throw a party, don't you agree? Yeah. I'll start by echoing some of the remarks that the other innovators tonight have made, which is to thank from the depths of my heart my family, who are so supportive of me, starting with my wife and my three boys. They're not here tonight because we live in California and it's a school night. I hope they're doing their homework. It's probably about that time back in California. But I couldn't do all the things that I do without their ability to kind of keep things going on the home front. And I also was the great beneficiary of parents who were very supportive of me when I was just a young girl. And I look at Maya and see what she's doing at the age of 10 plus 2 days, and think about where I was when I was 10 years old. And I was very fortunate because I was born in the 1960s at a time when, not all girls were encouraged to get interested in science and to pursue science. But I was born into a different kind of home where, my dad was a physicist and he had 3 daughters, and saw no reason why they shouldn't grow up to be ideally physicists, but chemist was kind of like a reasonable plan B. And so, I had a lot of support from home. Every patent that's been issued with my name as a co-inventor had many other co-inventors as well, who are equally deserving as I am, and hopefully will have their own moment on this podium at some point. But they were my students and my postdoctoral fellows. And some of them, even went so far as to form companies with me, taking much bigger risks than I took, because I never left my day job as a professor, but I've had students who, went all in with startup companies. And, the inventors in the audience know how much of a risk that can be. And so I owe them a great debt of gratitude, because we can't bring our inventions to life unless we have a way to translate them. And my students have been so critical for that. So this is for them more than anyone. I'd also like to thank the unsung heroes at the USPTO. For example, the patent examiners. Yeah. One of my own former PhD students works at the USPTO, and she's a patent examiner, and we talk from time to time. And these people are so dedicated and they work so hard. They're the ones who, look through the reams and reams of applications to try and figure out how to help us get protection for our inventions. And this is incredibly important work because, without the patents and the intellectual property system, there's no way that we can make the investments that we need to make of our time and the resources that need to be amassed to bring these inventions to life. So I owe, of course, the USPTO a great debt of gratitude. And then finally, as an academic, I'm almost entirely dependent on federal research funding. And all of the work that we do, the intellectual property that we create in our universities, that's from taxpayers' dollars that came to us through institutions like the National Institutes of Health, which is the primary funder of my own research, and the National Science Foundation, and the Department of Energy, right, and the USDA, and so on and so forth. So maybe this is a moment for me to thank all of the hardworking people at all of these federal science funding institutions that work so hard to keep those dollars flowing to us. And we all hope, of course, that those resources continue to be made available so that the next generation of inventors can do everything that we did. So thank you very much.